Welcome back, fellow geomologites. I have a huge treat for you. I'd like to introduce you to Paul and Gina, and they are with Culture Q, and they have given us permission to talk to them about their exciting new game that's coming out. I believe there's a Kickstarter coming soon for it, and we'd like to introduce you to them and their game and give you all the information and a link to their Kickstarter. So let's take it away. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Hey everyone. So I'm Paul, and this is Lisa,
Hello.
Hello,
and
Lisa.
we're the co-designers of the board game Culture Q. It's a game that we designed and been working on for a few years that really puts front and center, letting players tell their own personal experiences and stories, instead of like focusing on just like the game mechanics and whatever the game wants you to tell.
hmm So, what was your inspiration for this game, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, yes, we actually created the game as part of the Global Game Jam, which is 20 well, it's a weekend long where you basically spend the whole time working on making games. But I know, yeah.
And the theme of the game jam at that time was roots.
hmm
And so I come from a big family growing up. I'm Asian American, so
hmm
my Asian roots are pretty big. And so growing up, we it was all family. Even now today, we're all like very family oriented. And so with roots as the theme for that game jam, I figured, oh, we should create something about family roots.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. I know myself, I come from a family, I'm one of five children, only one boy, my poor brother. And I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and we always had a weekly game night. It was always pizza on Friday, and then we had a game. And we didn't have to work on our homework till Saturday morning after we got in every one of those exciting cartoons that we could.
Yeah.
Then we would and then we would work on our homework. But for us growing up, it was always like Trivial Pursuit or the Game of Life or Monopoly until my parents shut that down because that was way too many fights in the family happening.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds like Monopoly.
Yeah.
it does. But I would say those games were more about becoming a tycoon or living outside of our world. And Root sounds a little bit more like you're trying to build a connection to go forward. Was that the idea behind it?
Yeah, that definitely was a big part of it. That's especially why we grew up in like the 80s and like 90s and 70s as well too. So it's like we're like board games was a core part of like our lives. So that's why we wanted the mechanics to be familiar too. So we wanted something that was familiar to people, but add that twist of like giving them the space to share their stories while having just a little bit of family fun competition.
Yeah. So that was
Little bits.
Exactly.
I'm
so that
sorry,
was
Lisa.
the
The,
yeah. So that was the design, the user. I guess you could say user interface design for developing
Mhm.
the board game was to have familiarity where anyone can play the game. It's pretty it's pretty it's easy
Mhm.
for all generations. So regardless if you grew up in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, or even the 2000s, anyone can play and it's easy to pick up. So that was my main feedback for the team. It's like I wanted to help create something that it's easy to play and anyone can jump in from my 80-year-old dad to my 10-year-old little cousin. Like anyone can play.
That sounds incredible. Now, I am sharing the screen for Culture Q now, so that is what our participants are getting to look at while we're chit-chatting. And I do believe on there I saw that you roll a D6 to move
Yes.
your tokens. I'm moving down here so that they can see the different parts of your incredible website here. And I'm showing them that there's a board game here. There's some tokens, a D6, and two stacks of cards. And one says fortune and one says culture. They're red and blue. Did you want to explain what that might be to them?
Yeah, so we can start off with the culture deck because that's really the core part of the game.
Okay.
So like we actually have one like right here in our hands. So the
Oh,
culture
I
card, yeah.
let
So
me
this
let
one's
me stop sharing here so that they can see what we're doing here.
this
And
one.
that way, all righty, there we go. So they
Perfectly
should be
grouped.
seeing that too.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, this is an example of one of the culture cards. So, when you actually land on those culture circles, you'll draw a card from the culture deck. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, they have different experiences you can share with other players based on different, like, prompts. So, this one's cooking, and this one's, like, share a recipe. So, like, a player may want to share, like, a secret recipe from grandma that they've been holding for a while that, like, well, it's fine to share now. Grandma's not going to be mad about it. So, and that's the thing. We created, like, several of like those kinds of prompts with that card just so people have the opportunity to share different kinds of experiences.
Oh, that's incredible. So, like recipes, maybe memories. I know growing up, we would always have relatives that would never share something with us. And we would always ask, and they'd be like, "Oh, no, you don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about how your day was." And most of that was like my great uncles and my grandfather. And I understand they were part of that generation that dealt with World War II, and there's a lot of their lives they wouldn't discuss. But then after World War II, we got into the Vietnam era, and that's where my uncles were. And they were the same way, very closed off about that. So, do you have cards that might bring out some of the, I don't want to say some of those memories, but maybe dipping into those aunts and uncles and relatives that just refuse to share? What happens if they don't want to?
Yeah, so as part of like the mechanics of the game, it's like we definitely try to positively enforce like sharing, but if you don't want to share, that's fine, but you do have to accept the fact you're not going to be moving forward in the game. So if those people are competitive, they're going to share because like, well, winning's a little bit more important at the moment than like worried about like that kind of thing.
Oh, true. I understand that.
Yeah, because you know how
So,
family game night is, with especially with siblings.
oh my goodness, my siblings, they're funny. They're all over the place. So there's 20 years between my oldest sister and my youngest sister and I. So I'm like smack dab in the middle. And then the rest of us are like 18, 19 months apart. So
Nice.
we've got a wide range in there. So I can honestly tell you that I used to be the youngest child. I really didn't know my older sisters as well as I wished because they were in college by the time I got old enough to recognize. So, are you fostering relationships with relatives that way too? So, talking a little bit about what's your favorite memory from high school or cards like that, anything, something like that.
Uh, yes, we are. In the culture deck, well, actually on the board, um,
Mm-hmm.
the experience circles.
So because we actually just moved the like prompts for the experience circles onto a card, so it's more accessible and easier for
Oh,
everyone to see.
oh, that's
Yeah, so,
great. Food, travel, language, fashion, school, and books. We would never get off of books if you let us pick
Yeah.
that.
so
But
when you
as
land on an experience circle, and then you would pick up the experience card, you roll the die, and whatever number is
Mhm,
on the die,
mhm,
and that number is what you would share. So on the experience card, for instance, if you rolled a d4, you would share
mhm.
something about fashion. And like if you rolled a d5, you share something about school. So those who have experience with school, whether it be elementary, junior high, or high school, you could or even college, you could share an experience about that too.
That's pretty exciting. Do you have plans as to where else you would use it? Because I know for me, when I was looking at the game, I was thinking that would be a really great skill builder for like teams at work or, management getting to know their, I don't want to say they're underlings. You can tell I play too many RPGs when I start calling them underlings. They're
My
employees.
henchman.
But they might. You never know. They could sit down and do that.
It's like, oh yeah, it does great along with like the mafia crowd. They love
Yes,
that.
yes, absolutely. They have their own special set. No, but I mean,
Yeah.
So,
did you envision that as well when you were building the game? Were other uses outside of just the family?
um, in the beginning,
Hmm.
we didn't. It's mainly for friends and family,
Hmm.
or even parties, as
Hmm.
like an icebreaker for parties. But
Hmm.
then as we started playtesting the game and we received more feedback from testers, um, we were told that this is a great game for icebreakers, but also for the corporate,
Yeah, like
for a corporate setting for like
mm,
businesses, and teams building,
yeah,
who like if corporate companies wants to like have like a team building event, they were they gave us feedback that this is a great game for that, and so they
Right.
would love to have something like this
yeah.
for their company.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Absolutely.
testing was key to figuring out like the key demographics for the game. Definitely like family get-togethers, like big ones like Thanksgiving and Christmas. It definitely shines well. We've even seen like Gen Alpha and Gen Z. Like you would think that like because they're younger, they don't have as many experiences, but it's like they still had a blast playing it because
Mm-hmm.
they also kind of formed teams of two. So it's like, hey, we're the red team or we're the blue team, so they could like collaborate on shared experience. So if one like person didn't have experiences, then the other one would kind of like jump in and fill. And so it's nice that. And then from there, we also like realized, as Lisa would say, is like team building. It's great for that too. And we've had other people suggest like other places like speed dating and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like one of those areas where like still in the process of figure out like how to get that to work. But yeah,
Hmm. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I know at our family, there's it's as if you remember going back to school, you'd have those school dances and you'd have like three people on the dance and everybody else is on the outside of the circle. And we'll go to family events and it's like that. There'll be like three of them are in the living room watching the football game. Then you have mom in the kitchen trying to finish dinner and you have the kids running all over the place. So are you envisioning that would be the time where you set those people down that have nothing else to do and they play a
yeah.
game and try and include the rest of them afterwards?
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
you could always trick like the guys who are watching football too. And when you put it in front of them, they'll play it if it's in front of them.
Well,
But
truth be
yeah, it's
told,
like
I'd be the one watching the football game and Carl would probably be the one playing the game.
Yeah, same here. I always watching a football game.
I'm watching the football game.
Yeah. Especially if
And
my alma mater is playing, I'll definitely be watching a football
And,
game.
and I will define that as I don't care if it's American football or soccer or rugby. If it's
Exactly.
on, I'm going to be watching it because I made all those appetizers to go with it. And yeah, there's just something
exactly.
about that. Plus, I have to have those experiences later after dinner when the game's over and we're playing your game to share those.
Exactly.
It'll be fun. And I know you said that it's for ages 10 and up.
Yeah. So mainly 10 because part of it is like the components that come with the game because tokens, dice, and like children, we wanted to make sure like we aged it appropriate on that side. And also partially because of like the experiences because under a certain age, like you don't get those like there may not be the kind of experiences. So like we didn't want anyone getting frustrated because like cool, I'm 10, I haven't been traveling around the world, or I don't speak different languages.
Mhm.
So I mean, then there's some 10-year-olds where it'll be like, I'm a savant.
Right.
It's like you're the exception. We
Right.
understand.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I remember back to when we would have family game nights. My parents, so we would always be paying, and the big thing was Trivial Pursuit. The round one, you get all the little, yeah. And we always had that one relative that everybody wanted them on the team because they just seemed to know everything for the yellow peas.
Yeah.
Just,
Nice.
I mean, I
Yeah.
had some knowledge. I have like ridiculous, stupid knowledge no one should have, and I learned it simply for Trivial Pursuit. But but my parents made a house rule that if nobody on your team really had an idea about that, then they would just have a bag with different
Yeah.
colored chips in it and you could pull it out and they would read that question. what happens in your rules if really truly no one has anything to share? I mean, I know you said they don't go forward,
So they
but
will move backward, but we made the positive reinforcement like bigger than the like going back because we don't want people to get frustrated. But we also
mhm.
created like a balancing system in the game, for so people don't feel like they're falling behind. And that's actually kind of where the fortune deck comes in.
Okay.
And with the fortune deck, if you land on a fortune circle, it's kind of like almost like the chance deck in Monopoly, where
Mhm.
it moves you around the board in different unexpected ways. So like if you're further back on the board, can choose which token you're moving each turn, but you may say, "Hey, this one's really far back. Let me try the fortune circle because there's a higher chance of like being able to jump around in more positive ways." Not guaranteed, but again, it's the whole idea of like fortune. So like we have like this one where we have a circle that is labeled like high school. So
Mhm.
basically you can like if you go on the fortune circle and you draw this, you can move to the high school circle, which could be before like in front of you or behind you. So that's where the fortune kind of plays in where you don't know if you're moving back or forward till you draw.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
good
And
fortune or bad fortune.
it's like those seeing balls and most of the science fiction where
Exactly.
might see something that comes to pass, but it might not. So
Exactly.
you mentioned you could pick your token. Does each player play multiple tokens or just one token?
Yeah, so we made it so depending on how long people want to play the game for, they can use one, two, or three tokens. And the goal is to get all those tokens that you're playing with into the final circle we call generational enlightenment.
Hmm.
So each turn you can choose which one you move after you roll. Um,
It's
and
very
yeah,
it's very similar to um sorry,
yeah,
Hmm.
the mechanics of sorry, where you can move all your tokens around the board, but as long as the winner, as long as you get all your tokens in sorry, I think all until you get all your tokens to home, then
Hmm.
you win. Very similar to that mechanic, that mechanic, and that the first person to get all of their tokens into generational enlightenment, which is the home or finish,
Hmm.
um, then they would win.
yeah,
Well, that's great.
yeah.
And
We found
are
like
you,
the tokens that help frame things
Yeah.
for players. So this way it's not like some games which can go forever, like Monopoly.
oh
Yes.
goodness, that those got shut down all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's to the point where we were cutting pieces of paper to make more money because one or all of us, and I'll raise my hand, I was guilty, would keep the money just because if there wasn't any money in the bank for you to take, you couldn't win. So yes, oh no, I am extremely competitive in games. I've had to
Yeah.
calm that down a bit. But are you thinking ahead of time you're going to have expansion decks that they could add to it, or are you thinking that there might be other like more of a pocket-sized game that could go traveling where they could play it in the car if anyone even travels by car anymore? I
Yeah.
mean, they could take it on their trip with them however they choose to get there. Are you
Yeah.
thinking something along that line?
Yeah. So I think one of the things we were strongly considering, especially with a Kickstarter, is stretch goals and expansions is pretty high on the list for us.
Mhm.
Because there's just so many different subject matters to talk about. One idea we're toying with internally is like holidays. So
Oh
a deck
yes.
just focused on holiday experiences.
Oh
So like for
yes.
Halloween costume experiences, or you may have like a holiday drink that you like that you need everyone to drink and know about.
Holiday fashion,
Yeah.
holiday decoration.
It's like,
I'm
yeah,
I'm all about the food at the
Great food.
holidays. Not
exactly.
my table set a certain way, my food is made a certain way. You come however you want, but I'm going to dress appropriately. But yes, oh yes, I can
Exactly.
understand that one.
Look, like in the show Friends, you have to have your Thanksgiving pants.
That's right.
Well that too, but I'm not making the trifle that she made, not quite like that. That's for certain. Did you want to talk a little bit about the Kickstarter, when it's going to start and maybe what goal you're after and what you would get at different levels?
Yeah, so definitely so the Kickstarter launches on July 8th. So it's ringing up pretty soon for us. So we've been pretty busy just trying to spread word, sending people to like our newsletter where we've been posting a lot of updates on things going on recently. So
Mhm.
and then when it comes to like costs, we've really been thinking about like especially with tariffs becoming a complexity for everyone in the board game industry.
Mhm.
Part of it is we wanted to still keep this game in the same range as other like family games that you can get at Target. So we have several tiers. So the main tier is $30, but what you get in that is you'll get the game with all the components.
Mhm.
Um, with stretch goals, like those would be included as well, usually with that, unless we like state otherwise. And then we also are giving a print and play version. So this will give players the chance that if they want to print like the card template and create their own like culture cards, they can.
Mhm.
And then a lower tier would be the print and play only version for those who maybe just like, well, I have a bunch of dice and tokens at home because I have hundreds of thousands of board games over the years. It's like but being able to print the board out, print out the cards, we have that tier available too. So if players would pay $8 about for that tier, digital only. And then we do also have a tier for retailers because like there's a lot of local retailers in Texas who have shown interest in it.
Mhm.
And like we want to make it cost effective for them to also like be able to sell the game and like make so we have a tier available where you get 8 copies for pretty like good discount on it. A box of that, and then we have a special tier we're working on. That we've spoken like our marketer has an artist and sub artists they know, so we're working on like seeing if we get an artist for like for people who want to pay a little more, but have a character drawn of themselves or a picture they submit or want to have like drawn as a character put on like the back of the box as kind of like the key art in the back of the box.
Well, that's cool. That could make a very fun birthday present or Christmas present, and then they can use that as one of their
Exactly.
card answers. And I like the fact that you said that they could print off cards and make their own because I know growing up there was my father came from a background that was more on the Scottish side and my mom more on the Irish side. And you can imagine there's varying different things that they like to talk about. And my dad's huge into history and he would prefer to have all the cards, the questions about, hey, tell me what's for history. He's also the one that would stop us at every road sign on our trips so that we wouldn't miss any of those because every opportunity to learn something should be taken. So I'm assuming then there might be a way that like a teacher could utilize that maybe to teach
Yeah.
the students a little better. So maybe they could pledge for that goal too, right? That you said that
Right.
was the $8 one where they could make their own cards.
Yeah, so and the good part is like when they get if they decide they want to just get the board and other pieces though, and but they like they'll get the ability to print those cards too because we'll include the print and play with the physical version too. So they have options, but it's also great because if people do want to create their own like homemade like home house rules, we want to give them the tools to be able to do that. So
Well, absolutely. And we'll make sure that your link for the Kickstarter is in the show notes. And absolutely. And how can they have shipping outside of the US? Are you allowing that with the Kickstarter?
So that is right now we're focused mainly in the North America area,
Okay.
just because of like the logistics right now. But we have actually been speaking with distributors and stuff to figure out ways we can get it, like at least initially starting with English language regions first,
Mhm.
and then eventually localizing it past that. Because like my family's from Puerto Rico, so it's like being able to have like a Spanish version and see how impassioned people get would be like just fun to watch anyway
That'd be
and
very fun.
participate. Yeah, so we definitely are thinking about like eventually spreading it out to other languages. So, but first thing is to really
Oh,
just get it as many people as we can, like with the logistics we have available right now.
oh,
But I mean,
absolutely. But you
if
said the one that has the print version. So if they're overseas and you don't ship to them, they could still pledge for that print version and be able to get
exactly,
it. So
Exactly.
don't let that distract you, our viewers. If you are interested in the game, please go ahead. The link will be down in the description for you to pledge. And are you working on any other games in addition to this one?
Yeah. So because of that one global game jam, we caught the bug, and we did it again this year. We are in the early prototype phase of testing out a little bit more of a hectic game that it's still built for everyone, but it definitely leans more on chaos. We call it right now. Its working title is like Boba Wars, like
Hmm.
Boba Tea. Um, and the idea is that right now it's like a hybrid between like a digital device and circular cards are put around the device, and your job is to find all the ingredients for a boba drink that show up on the screen, and the first person to like tap the screen wins the round after finding all their ingredients. So
That
that's
sounds like a
like,
lot of fun.
yeah. And we're also working on it so this way it doesn't require digital devices because we know like sometimes that like can be intimidating for some people. But like we see the digital more as like a supplement to the cards, so it's like it's not just the only way to play, but it can make playing like more diverse and more fun because you'll get things you may not get in the cards that come with the game.
Well, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you guys definitely taking your time to let us interview you. And
Thanks so much
I
for having us.
absolutely, I do want to encourage our listeners to go to your website. Did you want to let them know what your website address is so that they can go there?
Yeah, it's Culture Q, CUEQ, like cue cards, dot games, cultureq dot games, and there we have links to the Kickstarter. We have our newsletter showing up there, but you can also sign up on there to it. And then we have some videos and information about the game on the site too. So hope everyone checks it out and definitely follows along with the journey.
Absolutely. And I will remind our listeners definitely on our YouTube channel, make sure that you hit those notifications because you have an exciting video for us to upload after this so that you can get an eagle eye into how the game goes. And make sure you pledge because that Kickstarter is going to kick and close quickly. So make sure you get your
Yes.
pledges in. And did you have
And
anything else you wanted to share?
And well, I guess we could announce it here. For those who like sign up for the Kickstarter in the first like 72 hours or basically 3 to 4 days,
Mhm.
we're gonna offer like a lower price of $25 for the physical game. So that's also gives a little more incentive to like get in sooner than later.
That's very exciting. Make sure you go, guys. Because is it going to be a coupon code that they need to put in, or is it going to automatically do that?
It'll just be automatic those first like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. Stay
First
in that
four or
range.
5 days.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really look forward to seeing your game premiere on our YouTube channel. You guys will get to play with you at our event coming up. It's the second weekend in October at the Henry B. Convention Center. We are going to be in Hall 3 and 4 this year. So when you get to the event, don't forget to make sure you run over to that table and get started because I have a feeling you might spend quite a bit of time there talking about your experiences from that game event too. And
Exactly. And
think,
maybe we'll have some con exclusive cards or something. Who knows?
oh, uh-oh, we might have to hold you to that one.
Some special experience you could share about where you are right now while you're there.
Absolutely. I know my biggest event this week was we washed the dog, and that was quite an event unto itself
Oh
because
yeah.
he's a very large dog and he doesn't like to take his baths outside. They have to be in the bathtub, and he likes to attempt to drink the water while you're washing him, and he's all sorts of silly, but
Oh, that's dogs. They're the best.
oh, absolutely. So anyone that has a dog, you've got a lot of experiences there. So we
Exactly.
thank you again for coming out and we look forward to seeing you in October. I know you're going to do great with your Kickstart. The game looks amazing. The colors are great and the idea is just incredible. And we look forward to the Bobo one because I can
Yeah.
make a Bobo drink to drink while I'm playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we definitely have ideas for me for like other ways to make it real fun for the players too. So maybe even some like real life ingredients, like a recipe so you can learn how to make your own specific drinks.
Uh-oh. We could make that into a happy hour game, guys.
Exactly. The not safe for work edition.
Yep.
That might not be the team builder that our employers are after, but
That
that's the mafia one.
yeah, exactly. It's definitely built for a different audience, but it's still chaotic fun for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you for taking time out to talk with us, and we look forward to it. Good luck on your Kickstarter. It's gonna go great. It's a wonderful game, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. And
Yeah,
for
definitely.
our viewers and listeners, we thank you for joining us. Don't forget to check out that description down below and hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss out when that video comes out. And good night and good rolling, guys.